So let me get into the presentation here. Welcome to the chat bot. My chat bot is called Sir Bot a lot because it's going to kick them nasty bots. Baby got bots. It's very important that anything you create is in line with your personality, I believe. And the reason why that I created this, because I wanted it for myself, for my real estate business. And there wasn't. I tried out a couple different ones, then I tried to do it myself, and I couldn't find anything of quality. And so if it doesn't exist, then you must create it. So my objective is, an introduction to conversational marketing and demonstrate how we can exceed clients' expectations by providing immediate response while adding value and building better relationships. We know that today's modern consumer, they want information now, right? They want you to predict, which is what we're doing, predict what they want and then have it ready for them. And that's exactly what conversational marketing does. And it's all permission based, right? For years with emails, with everything we've been doing, we pay money to throw up on the consumer, right? To go, you should buy my product or service because I'm paying somebody to put it in your face like this. And with permission-based marketing, they're saying, you know what, Jeremiah, I dig what you're talking about. In the future, when you're talking about whatever you're talking about, I want to know about it. That's permission-based. And so that's why the conversion rates are so high. That's why people are willing to talk to you, because you're having a conversation rather than trying to sell them on stuff. We get into the history of messaging. We start with, the bottle.
A brief
right?
and somewhat accurate history of how we stay connected. Let's see if an important message can be delivered by different means of communication, such as the smoke signal, the homing pigeon, the Pony Express, the semaphore flag, the telegraph, the telephone, the radio, email, the smartphone, last but not least, Facebook. Like us on Facebook so we can stay connected.
All right, so that's the history of messaging. If you didn't know, it's all started with the smoke signal. Think about how long now. Think about how long email's been around, right? I mean, I can remember probably 94-ish when I got my America Online CD. You remember? And it was like, wee. That's how long freaking email's been around. And people are still going, you know what? Let's send them an email. 40 years, 35 years later, let's send them an email. And let me just spotlight this so that you guys can see that a little bit better. And that's not the way to go anymore. So what we want to do is start using this conversational marketing. I want to start with the what is it, okay? This is a guy that sits on my desk. He's my chat bot statue, I guess. But here's exactly what bot is. Yeah, so it's a generalized term used to describe any software that automates a task. So chatbots in this example are automating a conversation, right? You guys are on a webinar now. If you're out selling houses, if you're writing an offer, if you're in a listing appointment, whatever you're doing, this can have the conversation for you. And I know that as real estate agents can be egomaniacs at times. Nobody on today's webinar, of course. Other realtors where it's like, no, they have to talk to me. I'm the one. I am the one. They're the one. And it's like, no, they just want to get the information, right? And if you're the provider of that information, you're the source of it, then they're going to see that knowledge and expertise, and it's no longer closing the deal. It's more of a, I choose you, and Amber, if we're looking at your product or service, like I choose you because I hadn't heard of anybody that provided this, but I also like you and your personality. Perhaps we have, we've had a business relationship before, and so now we're more likely to do business together. That's why like everything that I do is done in my voice, meaning Like when you chat with my bot, it's like you're talking with me. It's a little bit sarcastic at times, and it has a little bit of a sense of humor because that's how I am, and that's how the people that I interact with, would like and appreciate. So the why is all about having conversations. When I was talking to a guy today, he's like, "Oh, it's great on social media. I could take it and then I'll capture their email and then I'm going to retarget them with a landing page." And I'm like, dude, relax, first of all. Number two, just have a conversation like you would, like if you're at we're getting to the holidays, you're at a holiday party, and it's like, "Hey, Becca, how you doing? Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, how's business? Oh, no, things are doing well. I was thinking about selling my house." Oh, you have a conversation about real estate, right? You don't go to that party on Thanksgiving and go, "Just sold a house today." These people are doing that on social media. So it's about having that conversation, but there's 1.3 billion people on Messenger alone. Okay, there's 2.4 billion on Facebook. There's 4.4 billion people on the internet as a whole. Okay, so it's not going away. When people ask me, like, you've heard of the sales funnel. A lot of these big sales gurus who pretend to have expensive Lear jets and fly across the country. I want to tell you, first of all, that there's jets that people rent out to create video content like they're rich. I want to start there before you start following these people and thinking that they're doing great things. But the typical conversion funnel, they would run like some kind of ad with an offer, right? Saying, "Here's my report on, top ways to get exposure for your business." I'm looking at Amber with the flags. Or, "Here's my, top 10 things you need to do to buy a home," or "top 5 things to do to get your home sold." So you run this ad and then you get them into this funnel, which was always, attention, interest, desire, and action. Here's the comparison between that website funnel and a chatbot, right? 100% is, using 10,000 visitors. The conversion rates are so much higher. You could see here, like 99% you can message. You have a 75% open rate because, again, these people have given you permission to contact them. They're not blindly being contacted or retargeted based on an internet search that they did. And it's cheaper, to be honest, right? So that's where we're at. Is this just a fad, or will it really catch on? I'll say this. When it comes to real estate, some of you have heard about this, and you've probably heard about it for the last year or two, because it really hasn't even, we're at the surface right now, and you guys really are on the ground floor of some groundbreaking stuff. Groundbreaking on the ground floor. That makes sense. Because like nobody's doing it, because I feel like nobody understands it. And really, I'm a techie. I started doing this by myself in the beginning. And I'm like, shit, this is pretty complicated. Okay. And that's where, like, I met Jen, and Jen thinks the way I do, but she's very much more technical and was like, "Oh, I could do this." And her mind thinks in mind maps in a way. So here are the statistics on messaging, right? Not on email, but you've heard of WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp is another program or group messaging app that was purchased by Facebook. That's where they developed the messenger platform from. And they purchased WhatsApp for like $15 billion or something ridiculous like that, way back 4 or 5 years ago. So there's over 2 billion people on WhatsApp. There's 1.3 billion, like I said, on Messenger, 1.2 billion on WeChat, which is the number one way that people communicate in China right now. We're not going to have any conversations about China or anything like that, but it is the number one way they communicate over text messaging, over email, over phone calls. It's the number one way, WeChat. Okay, so when you're looking at countries with bigger population, those trends tend to carry on to the United States as things progress. And of course, you got QQ, you got the Telegram, you got Snapchat. I think Snapchat's going out the window, but that's another story for another day. So who is it for? It's for anybody who's on social media and wants to have happy clients, right? Anybody who's working with the modern consumer. If you say, "Jay, my ideal client is a senior, I have my SRES, or I offer a product or service that targets seniors," could you still benefit from it? Yes, absolutely. But if your target demographic is, "Hey, I work with millennials or parents with children," which is mine, then this is 100% meant for you, right? Because it's communicating the way they want to be communicated with. We're spending too much time sending emails and doing the things that are from previous generation's preferences rather than focusing on the new generation and saying, how do you want to be communicated with, right? These are happy agents. Yay, oh my gosh, they're so happy. All right. So where does it happen? We use a system called ManyChat, and there's other competitors out there, but this is probably the leader of the pack as far as, it happens within Facebook, but ManyChat integrates with Facebook and has so many more capabilities. Here are some examples, and I'm going to run through these quick flows so you can kind of see some of the capabilities of it. But let's say this isn't a conversation that you might have with somebody, like, what kind of home are you looking for, right? And you would say, well, I'm looking for 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot home. I want this house right here that you see in the picture for $100,000, right? That's champagne taste on a beer budget. This conversation can happen. Watch this as we go through. Tell me about your dream home, Jennifer. Large yard. Jennifer types extremely slow. We're going to have to speed up this video, Jen. Suburban, right? Okay. Are you pre-approved or will you be paying with cash? Again, conversation you would have, right? Cash money, need a referral, pre-approved, or have someone, or not in the market yet. So they can choose between those. I'm pre-approved. Sweet, we have someone or two for you. Do you want me to call them or should I have them contact you? Again, same, just exactly like I would say it. And in this instance, we could have screenshots of business cards and say, here's just people that we work with, entirely up to you. And then here we have some resources. Which one would you like? First time, moving, both, duh. And then it just continues on from there. Let me stop this for a second. Okay, so this is filtering, right? Because we always want to kind of filter between the people who are serious that want to buy now, because that's part of the flow. We call this a conversation flow. We'll say, when do you want to buy? 0 to 3 months. We're talking right now. When do you want to buy? 1 to 2 years. We're talking in a little while, right? You want to kind of filter through those people. When do they want to buy? How serious are they? Do they need your help? What kind of help do they need? And how can you provide that without ever having to pick up the phone? Because we like to think that they want to talk to us, but again, if I can get that information without talking to you, I can be referred to your trusted professionals. 100% of the time, they'd rather do that. And when they're ready, when they have a question, when they need something, you to kind of refine a question or add a little bit more to something that you're talking about, then they're going to reach out to you. Okay, so here we have filtering through the buyers. Like, is it a first-time home buyer? Is it a repeat buyer? Is it an empty nester? Is it a 55 plus? Is it a military relocation? Again, I'm going to bring it full screen for you. Thanks for clicking over. Quick question. How would you describe yourself? Empty nester, forever young, military, investment buyer, second vacation home, new construction. And again, if you have something else that you specialize in that's not there, maybe it's condos. We have a guy in my office. He's the condo king. 85% of his market is condos. So he could have all these different resources in there. Okay, you see first-time buyer resources, 7 reasons to work with a realtor, prepare your home, pack like a pro, moving with pets. All of these resources are already built into our bot. And like Amber, for you, this is where you could have, like, for your resources, all the different options that you might have for flags, what, like, maybe different industries, like real estate industry, general business, and kind of categorize it that way, and then just have it kind of keep filtering down as you go. Because you'll know what they click on in the bot, so you'll know kind of how they're filtering themselves through. And then the last one we have is the sellers. If they say to you, I have a house to sell. Okay, have you ever had a home equity estimate? It's also what you guys would call a comparative market analysis. I'd like to call it a home equity estimate. Would you like to get one today? Why, yes, I would. All you have to do is answer a few questions. How much do you owe on your current mortgage? Yeah, we're going to speed these videos up next time. ADHD's on tilt. So $300,000. Do you have any other credit lines or liens to pay off on the property? No. Please list all the improvements. And again, these are questions that I would ask if I'm using the Realtor Property Resource, RPR. but I'm already asking them ahead of time. So it's all going to be waiting for me by the time I get to the bot, right? Would you like to also know what the market's like? Who wouldn't, right? So I'm asking these questions that are open-ended, like, you'd like to know what the market's like, wouldn't you? Yes, I would. Okay, zip code, school district, neighborhood, Homestead School District. What about time frame? Last 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months? Let us know. Okay, you guys get the idea there. So what I'm doing is I'm asking the right questions. I'm not going to automate the home equity estimate portion of it, what I would call the comparative market analysis, because that's where your knowledge and expertise comes in, right? At the end of that, I say, okay, great, we have everything that we need. We'll get back to you within 24 hours with a range of what we think your home might be worth. And we'd have to come in, obviously, to see it. And again, any other industry, Amber, again, kind of coming back to you, you can always give a range of pricing and saying, it depends. Our short answer is it depends on quantity, quality of what you order, and all that, because you're trying to get them, prompt them to then get on the phone and have a conversation, right? I'm going to say, here's, I call them the next day and go, hey, I did put together your home equity estimate. Here's the range of what I think it might sell for. Obviously, real estate, it's hyper local. I have to come out and take a look. See what the improvements are like, try and kind of do some drive-bys and some of the comparables in the area. Is tomorrow morning good or tomorrow afternoon better for you? And they go, oh, great, this is so fantastic, because all of that other stuff that makes you sound like a salesperson, right? Where you're like drilling them on the phone. All of that stuff is taken care of ahead of time. All you're doing is providing service. And that's how you want to look at this. So you could also, in taking action today, our favorite, this is the favorite way that I use the bot. And if you've been in any one of my, webinars live or online, I usually will use some kind of keyword. So I would say, okay, if you want to know what equipment I recommend for you to do video, send me the keyword equipment. Like that works right now. You could send me the keyword to my Facebook page, send a message, and it will automatically trigger the bot to send you a list that I've already created. Okay, that could be flags. That could be, first-time homebuyer grant programs. That could be flood insurance reform, right? For those of you who are on the island and maybe you're dealing with some flooding issues or something near the shoreline. All of these things, whatever matters most to your clients, I would create a one-sheet or some kind of resource with a keyword that's triggered. And you could do that with a post. You could do that with an ad. You could do that with video. Sometimes I work backwards and say, all right, I'm going to do a video today on the market, a market activity video. So then I want people to ask me how the market is. And that's going to trigger that home equity estimate, right? So I might do a video and say, hey, everybody, this is JMan, JMan with the Monero team XYZ Realty with your market activity update. Here's how it is in the Monroe County area. List price to sale price ratio, blah, 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 whatever I might say. And I say, but real estate is hyper local. If you want a market activity report for your area, just type market in the comments below. You'll automatically be triggered, and we will put together a customized market activity report for you. See, so I've seen out of everybody who might watch that video, then I'm targeting of people who might be interested in some way in real estate by asking these open-ended questions and providing a service, right? So the keywords could be anything. It could be dog parks. It could be, depending on whatever your niche is, what you specialize in. We had an agent in our market. She specialized on working with women in transition, whatever that is, right? It was like women in, I'm like, what does that mean? She goes, I don't know. It just works for me. And it was like 90% of her clientele were women. It could be they were getting divorced. They were buying their first home. They were empty nesters. They were widowers, but it was women in transition. So she would create like content specific to that market. There's 10 other ways to get people into the bot. Okay, this is what we came up with. First, incentivize subscribers with exclusive access or attractive offer. So you could run an ad. You could do a post saying, hey, would you like to know all of the foreclosures that are available in your area? Of course, everybody does. It appeals to the larceny in their souls. They watch freaking Flip That House. They think they're going to be millionaires from flipping houses. And it's really easy to do. Any of your MLSs, you just put type of sale, and you could put HUD, you could put government owned, you could put bank owned, and have a list automated for them. Or you could say, would you like an exclusive list of short sales in your area? Okay, nobody's chasing after short sales because sometimes they're a pain in the ass to get closed. But in a market with low inventory, that's a great way to kind of provide value to people that you're working with. So incentivize them in some way with exclusive access or an attractive offer. Be careful if you're going to say, like, you could say, would you like access to properties before they hit the market if your broker approves that? And if that's something that you guys are having exclusive listings that you're only marketing to people that you're working with exclusively, right? Because there's a clear cooperation. You got to be careful that if you're advertising it publicly, it has to be in the system within one business day, not 24 hours, but one business day. Run click to messenger ads. Again, if you have a new listing, especially when you get out there with those really nice houses on the island there, you got some 500 million, $1 million house, $2 million house. I would run an ad with just some of the best pictures, 4 or 5 pictures that you have. And then it would just say, click here for more information. You got them into the bot. Now you can provide them with a flyer for the property, see if they're interested in buying a home, and then run that whole flow that you just saw, right? Please describe yourself as a buyer, et cetera, et cetera. Submit bot to Facebook Discover tab. That's another way. Number 4, create a QR code that forwards to your m.me link. So you guys remember QR codes? They were the next best thing until they weren't. Well, they're making a comeback. Okay, so you could have a QR code that forwards to your messenger link. Each messenger link has its unique URL. You can enable prompt people to send message feature on your page. You can boost Facebook posts that includes your m.me link. You can integrate your messenger bot with your website. Okay, so if you have control of your website, I know some of you are, again, from bigger brokerages, bring it to the broker or introduce us to your broker, and we're more than happy. Amber, you could add this to your website tomorrow for your business, and it's really nice because it pops up and it's a messenger, and if they don't have a Facebook page, they could still use it as a guest, right? I mean, it's really kind of quite slick. Share your m.me in your Instagram bio and stories for those of you who are on Instagram. Instead of putting your website, get them into the bot that way, and then have your website within your bot where you're filtering them to see exactly what they are. Link to your messenger bot in your emails. Self-explanatory. And then open house. This is where on Friday I was like this. I was like, oh my God. Open house sign in and COVID questionnaire, right? This is the biggest, I almost said pain in the ass, but it is. It's a challenge. Like I hate paper as it is, and I'm carrying this stack of COVID questionnaires and going, and if you're out showing houses, and you forget about like if you're going to do an open house and you have 10, 12, 15, 20 people out there, you got to have multiple people working that with a clipboard outside, making sure they're filling it out before they come in. Well, now we have the answer. Okay, you can do this within the system. Okay, if social media is not for you, you could also do it with text messaging. Okay, yes, I said it. Text messaging as well as email. So if somebody, I'm just imagining like the line in front of your open house. They come in, and then on the front of that door says, and the people are getting used to this. They're getting trained because wherever you go, I went to the YMCA on Friday. They were like, sir, before you come in, download our app and fill out the questionnaire. I'm like, I'm here. Can I just freaking do it? Like, can you just give it to me now? And I do it. He's like, no, you got to go. He made me go back to my car and fill out the freaking questionnaire. But I bitched a little bit in my head, but I did it because it's what everybody's making me do these days. So imagine now if you had this is just a piece of paper, but you have your QR code and you have a link saying, okay, scan this or go to open house at, open242.com. And that's going to forward to this flow that we've already created. Here's an example. Let's see what happens. Go here, right here. Right, so this is a text messaging flow. So you text open house to that number there, and it goes through the questionnaire automatically. Yes or no? Have you been tested positive? No. Have you experienced any symptoms? No. Buyer leasing is required to disclose if they're type initials below to agree. Okay, please write your full name. What is your phone number? See how lazy I get. If answered yes to any of these questions or failed to agree to the last statement, you will not. And we change this. We'll say you may not be permitted to enter the property. Please write the date below. And then it goes into a flow for an open house. Now, we would delay that by 15 minutes, but we didn't, just for demonstration purposes. I have a few quick questions. What did you like about the house? What did you not like about the house? What's your best email? We won't be spamming you. We don't have time. Again, this is exactly how like I would talk to somebody. Like, look, I ain't got time to spam you, bro. And that's it. I'll go back over here to the presentation. So you can see how easy that would be, right? And that flow could be done via text message or Facebook message. And I'm going to pause here for a second and see if there's anything Jen wants to add while I'm going to share my screen and kind of show them what the flow looks like and show them the stuff.
Okay. And then could you maybe want to show them when you're showing that the Google Doc, how this information goes to Google Doc to make their life easy. Yeah, so just kind of some of the things to summarize what I think JMan has set up to now is, first of all, we want the quickest way for you to have conversations, but we want you to have conversations with the people who are ready to have a conversation. So that's why we kind of do the pre-qualifying questions to find out, do they really want to have a conversation? And we also want to make your life super simple, like providing resources and how do they have these, how do you get it to them? And so it's really a powerful tool because we can kind of bring all these things together. Like, he was talking about the guy who wanted to have a conversation and send somebody to a landing page. Well, that's a conversation stop, right? We never want to make a conversation stop. We always want to make it that's the opportunity for you to continue the conversation. And now, like, our technology is, like he said, it's so right in the beginning, but already you can have the conversation in text messaging or in Messenger with the same person, same flows. So yeah, just to summarize, we want you to be able to have always be having a conversation, but before, we want to sort through the people to make sure they're the people who are really interested, as opposed to just kind of looking around. And we want to provide the resources that help you start the conversations.
So let me just, we're giving you like a peek behind the curtain here of the wizardry that we created. But you can see, like, if this is that text message flow that you just saw, this is the behind the scenes. So it's a predicted conversation. I'm going to hit edit here for a second. I mean, look at this. For me, this is like, remember the movie A Beautiful Mind? Like, I see this and it's so beautiful. It's like poetry in motion, because you come in here, I'm going to zoom in, but it all starts with, and again, for those of you who like storyboarding, like what I would do is, what we did is, like, on a piece of paper, on like a whiteboard, you say, here's where the conversation starts, right? So it starts with that COVID questionnaire. Have you only been in close proximity contact in the past 14 days? Yes, no, or fall back, which is, what does fall back do? Just stops it, right? Yeah. So then it says,
like, let's say they spelled like yes wrong or something like that. Like, if they answer it, we want to capture it and bring them to the next step.
Right. So then it goes through all these questions, because you can see, like, it asks a question, then the arrow kind of brings you through to the next. So it's just like, if they say this is what happens. If they say that, this is what happens. Okay. It's like the game of life. You guys remember that? You're making a decision, kind of like, okay, if you make this decision, this is what happens to your life. Hold on one second. Okay. I'm back. All right. So if you see here, then it goes, move it over. Last thing here, COVID questionnaire complete is the last thing that they would receive. And then what we have here is actually a Google sheet that's automatically populated as they answer it. You'll have first name, last name, date that they answered it, their phone number, and their email, right? So you can kind of document everything that you need. If there's a question, if you're audited, who knows with this COVID, what's going to happen? Somebody passes away, not because you showed them a house, but you were one of the people that was in contact with them. An attorney is going to sue everybody, right? I mean, everybody that they came in contact with in that time frame is going to get sued, especially in New York State. And so you'll have all of that tracked. And then you could always export this, like we said, if you wanted to automate that further, add that into a CRM and then retarget them. But I mean, you have them in your messenger. It's really not necessary. Boom, boom,
Yeah, and
boom.
so like with that flow, like also like it kind of showed us, but they'll be getting an email confirmation from you. So you're really reaching them in all the places. And then they came in through Messenger or for texting. You sent them an email to confirm. In that email, it gives them an opportunity. So maybe they have some questions about the house they were in. So that'll take them back into your Messenger. Because it's kind of like creating this omni-channel approach of communications, because you want to talk wherever they want to. Maybe they want to email you, maybe they want to be in your messenger, and so this kind of flow gives you the opportunity to let them talk to you the way they want.
So now you can give it a try. Pull out your cell phones. This is the demonstration portions of today's class, everybody. So pull out your phone. You're going to text. And this is the one caveat that I'll tell you. Like, I have an auto signature typically that has my name in it. If you have an auto signature, disable that, because that will not trigger the SMS keyword, because your name will be in there as well. This is a great slide. It looks so futuristic, doesn't it? I'm just waiting for you guys to, I can see if you're using your phones or not, because your cameras are on. Becca, you using yours? Okay. All right. I'm just making sure.
JMan, you can also show them how they get notified and like how they can watch the conversations and respond from the chat if you want.
I can, but then I have to share my screen again, and I don't want to. But I mean, so what Jen is saying is, I always know on the back end what's going on, because I have both the Messenger app plus the ManyChat app plus my Business Pages app, which is now called like Business Suite or something, which is ridiculous how they rebranded that. But yeah, Business Suite. So I know at any point if somebody's like struggling, like they're putting in the wrong keywords or they're typing the wrong thing, I can go in there and go, Amber, I'm here. This is JMan, not the bot. How can I help? And they go, oh, I just had a question. Okay, do you want to talk on the phone, video chat, or email, like whatever's best? Smoke signal work? Doesn't matter. I could do it. And then like you hop on the phone and you have the conversation. So it's like being able to communicate with them. It's a little creepy because you're monitoring it on the back end, but it's also the best way to provide exceptional service, right? You're letting the service do the work. And this is where some of you who are control freaks kind of need to let go and let the bot do the work. Like we have an agent that we work with in Arizona. She's so used to being responsive with her service that the bot would be doing the work. And she'd be like, when do you want to see the house? And I'd be like, her name is Candy Bowen. And I'd be like, Candy, you can't like let it do the work. It's doing the work for you. She's like, I'm sorry. I know I'm just so used to being responsive and jumping on people, like to give them the service. Like she's obsessive about providing good service. And you got to let the bot do the work. There's always it's always prompting them if they want to at any time to talk to a person, they can do that. If they're unhappy or they don't like what's going on. Let's see here. All right, the last thing that we could do, I don't know if I'm going to do, but it's I probably will in the future, is to help you build a bot. So if you wanted to build a bot, I'm going to cut to camera 3. One moment, please. Okay, so this is kind of what it would look like. Jen, do you want to kind of walk them through? Because I'm going to walk away from my microphone. You won't be able to hear me, but I can hear you if you want to say like
Sure.
How we would design the flow.
So if you wanted to start this flow and you want to do it in Facebook, I think you may have noticed on some pages when you're on Facebook, if you go into the messenger, like 3 questions auto-populate. And so often those questions are just off base because Facebook's just assigned random questions. So what you can do on your Facebook page is pick the 3 questions that you want. It's kind of like a mini main menu almost. So you would decide, what are the 3 most important questions that you think people will be coming into your Facebook Messenger for? And I think like last time, JMan, you said like a buyer question, All right, so like some sort of buyer question that they would have, and it could be resources or something. Then we'd have a seller question, and the seller question is that we like to use is the home equity one, and then the fourth one could be like talk to a human, right? Because maybe they come in there, they just really actually want to talk to you. So you could have like chat with agent or chat with me. You know, you'd say your name in there. And then let's say they come in, yeah, and then you'll have your notifications turned on. And so when they come in, you'll have those three set up. And this will make a happy person and a happy agent.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I did have a screenshot. Like if you go into your page settings here, into your business page settings, then you're going to go into like your general settings. That's where you can start to either, you have an away message that you can create. There's an instant message that you can create as far as like when they first go in there, you could say, hey, how you doing? You know, so you could kind of start to do this yourself. Like some of us did, you know, like I started to do it and then I got into the chat bots and I'm like, you're going to realize that just the simple conversation that we showed you with that text messaging, it's not so simple. Like it makes sense to hire a professional so that you're out selling real estate and doing things that make you money rather than trying to figure out the social media stuff, right? So that brings us to the end of the chatbot conversational marketing presentation. I'm going to go back to this one over here. What questions might you have as you kind of said through? I know it was a lot at once, really, really quite fast.